Wildcats by 2 over Idaho State as the third quarter is about to start shortly. The Wildcats down their superstar player Ioka Lee, who did not play today so far, and Dora Galesh, the star scorer for this Idaho State team, because of 2 fouls, only 4 points, did not play the entirety of that second quarter. So each team kind of missing some scoring punch. Third quarter is coming up. And speaking of Galesh, as we take a look at the highlights, Missy, Idaho State, because of her, had a little bit of a good start, but just couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah, they created some offense with their defense. 10 turnovers by Kansas State, and you got to take advantage on the break. And a dribble drive penetration in the half court. This team, when they execute, their passing, their ball movement, they'll cut, and they make good decisions. They just put 22 points on the board, one of their last 10 in that second quarter. But this Idaho State team has the ability to put pressure on your defense because of their team basketball with a veteran group. For Kansas State, Christiana Carr, really the bright spot. 11 points, 4 of 6 from the field. Not a lot of other offense from this Wildcat team as a whole, but if you can penetrate and find open players, that's going to be critical. They did get a couple opportunities to create offense with their own defense, and Sydney Goodson making it happen out in the open floor. And they got 12 big minutes in that first half as well, Brian, from Taylor Lauterbach, the freshman. A great kick out to find an open shooter in the post. When that double team comes, you've got to be able to identify. Look opposite, look to the corner. She did that. Now, how can they build off that? It was a 5.5-minute scoring drought for Kansas State, so neither team closing that first half well. Can it be better to start the second?
Idaho State will get the ball to begin the third quarter as we take a look back at the keys to victory that you had at the outset for each of the how they have passed to this point.
Well, I think you got to pass on both, especially for Idaho State. They disrupt and then some, caused 10 turnovers and able to generate a little bit of offense off it, and they crashed the glass. They are going to get themselves second chance opportunities, and they had 6 offensive rebounds there in that first half. Kansas State's got to box out, and that goes to where they are. Positive possessions, 10 turnovers, too much standing, too many stagnant offensive possessions. They've got to get better ball movement. You got to cut hard. Ball's got to go to the post. You've got to, when you stand, you're guarded. And I think that's just maybe the simplest way to put it. And on the flip side, they've also got to box out. You cannot give up second chance opportunities. This Kansas State team knows that in order for them to battle against any team, especially without Ioka Lee, everybody's got to rebound. Everybody's got to do their job.
No, and that didn't necessarily happen in the first half, although both teams got a lot of players in. I mentioned this before, but Kansas State at the beginning stages here of a stretch of 4 games in 7 days, in the middle of a 6-game over 16-day stretch. 10 players played in the first half for Kansas State, everyone that was available except for Jada Thorpe. And for Idaho State, all 12 players that were here, for the most part, have played. 11 of the 12 players that are here, I should say, played in that first half. So as you get a look at Seton Soboleski, 13th year bench boss of Idaho State, who's been a standout leader of Idaho State in the Big Sky Conference, winning as head coach of the history of the program. Just about every record you could possibly come up with for this team he owns. As you see there, the 2012 Big Sky Conference Coach of the Year, team that was picked to win the Big Sky this year. And they'll go back out, and Galesh has returned as expected to begin the second half for Idaho State.
You mentioned it, Ryan, depth. I think it's the buzzword of college basketball across the board at any level, men and women. You've got to have depth on your roster. You've got to be prepared for any situation every day. Every hour is going to be different in this new normal that everybody is living in. And Idaho State being able to play 11 out of 12 early, Kansas State with 10 in that first half getting playing time. You're going to see it be a bigger factor down the stretch here in this second half.
Laura Mackey, the only change to the starting lineup for K-State. She starts the second half in the post in place of Ashley Ray.
And that's that smaller look now for the Wildcats, is that they go with Mackey inside into the post without the big true size of 6'3" or 6'7" available. How is Idaho State going to make those adjustments defensively?
So K-State the rebound off the miss. Idaho State yet to hit a 3 in the ball game. Now to the offensive end. The Wildcats have mightily struggled. Ebert doubled. Dangerous bounce pass at the baseline, and that'll be a turnover.
And a little bit of a double team came at Everett, and even though you don't have the big post inside, Idaho State still went to the double, and then it disrupts. So we said it at the top, you're going to disrupt. You want to make them uncomfortable, get them out of rhythm. Wildcats have not had much offensive rhythm here this afternoon, and the credit has to go to this Bengal defense.
Sydney Goodson immediately out. Jeff Mitty wants to talk with his senior point guard for a minute. Simone Goodrich returning to the lineup. Kanate goes right around Ranke. Blocked from behind, though, by Ranke. And here come the Cats, already their 5th block. And then Goodrich puts one up over the top, all the way to Marysville with that pass.
Yeah, turnover number 12 for Kansas State, and you get 2 stops and turn it over the last 2 possessions. Not at all what Jeff Mitty and his staff wanted coming out of that locker room.
Positive possessions, that was one of your keys, was it not?
Yeah, I didn't say the last 2 have not been. I would say that they do not rank. They are a definite F in the grading factor.
Golesh. Down low, and Bourne gets good position inside of Everett.
And finally breaks the scoring drought for this Idaho State team, but one-on-one isolation. Nobody on the backside, no one in help, and that's going to be an easy bucket down low.
6 minutes, 20 seconds without a point, dating back to the first half for Idaho State. Wildcats kind of in that same boat. Ranke, a long 3 won't go. K-State finished the first half 5:35 without a point. Golesh, a long 3. Yes!
And she breaks the drought of no threes by this Idaho State team. But with ball movement and finding an open player, she knocks it down. Second team all-conference player last year makes them pay.
We go to a break. Timeout, Kansas State. Idaho State by 3. Second half, they lead by 3 here in the third quarter on Big 12 Now and ESPN Plus. Brian Smoller, Missy Heydrich, our entire crew back with you in Bramlett's Coliseum. First of a busy week for Kansas State as they host 4 games over 7 days. Simone Goodrich brings the ball up for K-State, who have not scored. The Wildcats in some time, dating back into the first half. Went 5.5 minutes to close the second quarter without a point, and so far have not scored the first 2.5 minutes of this third quarter. Turnover forced on Karate by Goodrich. And that's the 10th turnover by Idaho State.
Yeah, the numbers rise for both teams, but Idaho State was able to break through from long range right before they went. Jeff Mitty had to call that timeout, and it was a great 3 in a little bit of a secondary break look for the Bengals. But that opens the floor now for this Idaho State offense. And how can Kansas State respond themselves? They've got to figure out a way to put the ball inside. It cannot just be long 3s.
Golesh, you hit one earlier. Hits another!
She uses the screen, and no one came out to check. No one came to help. And if you're going to leave a shooter like that, they got to make you pay. And Golesh now back-to-back 3s on the last 2 times she's touched it on the way down.
Double teamed on Carr. Mrs. Mackey sliding down the paint. Goodrich to Everett. Can't break the seal.
Seems as though there's just a cover on top of that basket on the other end for Kansas State. But Idaho State has figured out a way to break their cover off here on the other end.
Golesh just making mincemeat of K-State's defense. 12.7 in the quarter.
She has sliced through that time off the dribble drive. You're going to come out and contest a shooter. What do? You got to go by him if you're crowded, and she makes a pay off penetration.
Goodrich runs right into Golesh. That's going to be a charge. Turnover number 13 by K-State.
You said it, Brian. Golesh did not play in that second quarter because of foul trouble, and Idaho State was able to hang on. But this time now, making it happen on both ends of the floor. That's what all conference players do. You got to be a difference maker. She's done it on the offensive end, picks up the charge. Momentum boost right here for the Bengals.
A 10-0 blitz to start the third quarter. Looking for more. Yes, a three-pointer from Otroji.
And Otroji gets loose. She's given them bench minutes in their first couple ball games, but right now, the ball movement and execution is the difference maker for Idaho State.
It's a couple 3 threes in a row for a team that missed their first 9. K-State on the other side made their first 2, but have only hit 2 of their last 15 from long distance sets.
Jeff Mitty making a substitution at that last dead ball. Taylor Lauterbach, the 6'7" freshman, coming into the lineup. So going back to a little bit more of that traditional post, bigger lineup. And what does that do? It forces Idaho State to have to foul as they're trying to get through those block-to-block screens.
Ebert from the corner, off the mark. Lauterbach, the offensive rebound, is fouled.
And that's back-to-back fouls right there by the senior Moore, who's coming off the bench. She did get the start versus Nebraska. Couldn't give him a lot of boost offensively, but trying to find an answer to 6'7" inside.
It has been nearly 10 minutes without a point for K-State, dating back to the first half. And a turnover by Ebert as she whips it out of bounds, looking for Lauterbach. 14 turnovers for K-State.
14 turnovers, as you said, in almost 10 minutes of scoreless time. And as it just continues to snowball, but they've got to find a way to get stops on this end.
Whistle away for the ball. It could be on Lauterbach. She may have been holding more in the paint.
And that's that veteran makeup of this Idaho State roster, Brian, is that they move. They don't stand. They're setting screens. They are executing in the half court. Much more of isolation, one-on-one looks that Kansas State saw against Kentucky and Central Arkansas. That is not what they are seeing here this afternoon. They are seeing movement. They are seeing screens. They are seeing sets, a little bit of everything, and they haven't had an answer defensively.
Galesh, who's had the hot hand, trying to drive and kick. Ball got swatted, but it lands back with Idaho State. And another three-pointer for Otroji.
4 threes in a row for this Idaho State team who didn't make any in the first half, and that's how you blow open a lead.
A 13-0 run to begin this quarter. Lauterbach will shoot a 3 and miss. Reinke trying to look for Carter, and he throws it away. Another turnover for K-State. That'll send us to a timeout. What a start by Idaho State in the third quarter. And Dora Galesh, 7 points in the quarter, including a couple of threes, and the Bengals up big in Manhattan. Well, Idaho State did not hit a three-pointer the first half, but they have warmed up in the second half, largely because of Dora Galesh, who has hit a couple of threes, has 12 points.
Lights out from behind the three-point line for this Idaho State team, and it comes from ball movement and miscommunication by Kansas State defense. You got to identify shooters, but if you're going to leave them open, they're going to make you pay. This Bengals team was 5 of 24 in their loss in Nebraska. Right now, here middle of the third, they are 4 of 13 from behind the arc.
Moore working on Lauterbach, unable to drive in and score. Rebound ripped away by the 6'7" freshman. K-State has gone over 11 minutes without a point, dating back to the first half.
Now the question is, it's a bit of a gut check. You got to make some adjustments here if you're Kansas State. Who wants the basketball? Who's looking to score? Can they get execution? And finally, an isolation underneath, moving without the basketball, setting a screen, and Christiana Carr's going to get open. You've got to find those mismatches and find the opportunities where Idaho State doesn't make the adjustment. Maybe they gambled just as Golish did that time, didn't get the steal. Carr's now got a chance at the three-point play.
Moore with the foul. It's her second. Team foul number 2. And Carr at the free throw line makes the free throw. Carr has 14 points. Nobody else on the team has more than 4.
Stops the bleeding, and that's what Kansas State had to do. Coming onto that timeout, you get a stop on the other end. You've got to continue to focus on working on your defense and allowing Idaho State to go one-on-one.
11:33 is what K-State went without a point. 11 minutes, 33 seconds. Sydney Goodson, a three-pointer straight on, no good. Wildcats now 4 of 20 from behind the arc. Galesh, the corner. Otrogi feeling it. 3 threes by the junior off the bench.
And that all happens from Golish. She got to the middle of the floor off penetration, drew a crowd, and what happens? She finds a shooter wide open in the corner.
Simmons trying to answer, cannot. Rebound may have been knocked off of Oltroge, but it's not. It's picked out of there off the hand of Goodson, they'll say. So Idaho State back with the basketball, all of a sudden feeling it.
And the 6-foot junior, Montana Oltroge, giving them just a boost from the perimeter. You don't necessarily expect that, giving them some bench minutes in their first few minutes. But if you're going to leave shooters open and give them that much space and confidence, they're going to make you pay.
Smith got the start today in the paint. Blocked by Lauterbach. The ball batted around. That went off of Lauterbach out of bounds. It'll stay with Idaho State. Bengals 7 of 12 from the floor here in the second half. 5 of 6 from behind the arc.
And that's what Lauterbach has to do, Brian. She's got to learn to battle. And that is a matchup here when you think about Smith, a 6'2 redshirt junior. That's a smaller post player. She's going to want to go one-on-one. How do you recover? You got to stay tall, block shots, be aggressive inside.
Simmons will get called for the rebound foul.
And it just seems as though the Wildcats can't get off this end of the floor. And that's been the struggle, is that they've had bad possessions, stagnant offense, and then you can't get off the dime. You got to move the ball, you got to get out on the open floor, and they just haven't been able to do it.
Smith may have rushed it a bit, and a rebound foul on Bourne over the back.
Yeah, I think Callie Bourne passed one up. She had a great opportunity to go one-on-one out of that out-of-bounds underneath, where they have had great execution all day. Smith can't get the jumper to go. You go over the back. Probably 2 miscues right there by the junior, but so far this has been a great third quarter for Idaho State.
Ranke. Back iron with a long rebound. Sydney Goodson with a tremendous pass to Lauterbach, who can't finish. It stays with K-State.
One of the few second chance opportunities we've seen this afternoon for the Cats. But those are the possessions, those 50-50 balls. We saw Goodson get one in the first half. They've got to have those long rebounds and loose possessions. Keep it alive. Give yourself a chance to score some easy buckets.
Goodson nearing the 5 count, just has to launch it all the way near midcourt. Pick and roll with Lauterbach, blocked initially by Otroji, who may have rolled an ankle, is hopping underneath the basket, and he's down, and they will now stop play.
And the struggles continue for the freshman Lauterbach. Just couldn't get it to go. They had good looks on the pick and roll, as you said, and Otroji, who has been hot from the perimeter, goes down, as you said, I think as though she's going to roll her ankle coming in off the side. She's just going to, and it really was with her teammate, she and Kanate, underneath the bucket trying to get that loose ball and help side, and comes down, rolls her ankle, being attended to by their medical staff.
Well, we've seen too much of that.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same injury for Ayoka Lee the other day against Kentucky.
Who also turned her ankle coming down on your own player.
That's right.
And that's the toughest part is, and that's just because there's a lot of traffic and it is fast and it is physical. And she's putting a little bit of weight on that foot, so hopefully not as severe, but a lot of times it's that initial shock. But with the hot hand from behind the three-point line, that is someone that this Idaho State coaching staff did not want to have to take out of the lineup.
Yeah, no doubt. You'd love to get her back sooner rather than supposed to later. Continue that hot shooting from long distance. A 19-3 third quarter for Idaho State. Now it's Golesh in the corner, taking that spot and buried it.
Give credit to Kanate. She created that entire possession. Goes baseline, drew a double team, and they leave a shooter open in the corner. When you spot up and move without the basketball, good things happen in the half court.
Carr, step back shot. She's got 16.
She's been really the only offense right now for this Kansas State squad, Brian. And the last couple times down, she has been able to look for that isolation, cross screen, and post up underneath. And if they can continue to get her touches, that opens up the floor a little bit for the Cats. But Carr's got to find a way to score. She can't just be a three-point shooter. More of an emphasis for her to be a complete player. We're seeing it here this afternoon.
Kent's trying to turn it up defensively. Offensively, their struggles continue. Orr's nearly traveled with it. Shot clock at 5. Orr's to board. What an offensive possession.
They use the full 30 and you get an easy layup, and that is what a veteran team will do. We have seen it time and time again this afternoon. You cut, you pass, you make good decisions, good things happen.
Back cut for Reinke and one.
No help side by Idaho State, and a great recognition by the Cats. You've got to move without the basketball, and the freshman Lauterbach reads it, doesn't get antsy, doesn't try to make something happen, and waits for Rachel Reinke to break free, and they've got themselves a bucket and a chance at the three-point play. Reinke hasn't found her stroke from the perimeter, but if she can get going in the half-court offense, find other ways to score, that'll be critical here down the stretch.
Reinke to the free throw line. She has 7. Mackey in with under a minute to go in this third quarter.
And with more Mackey in the lineup and Lauterbach, Brian, that puts her more at that 4 position. Doesn't have to hold down the post, a little bit more size now underneath.
Golesh driving kick. Orrs tries her chance at a 3, and she'll hit a 3. Her first bucket of the game.
For a team that has not beat people or been real effective from behind the three-point line, they found a great afternoon to find the shooter's touch.
What a quarter for the Bengals. Travel by K-State.
Turnover number 15 on the Cats. And trying to get a bucket to close out this third quarter, Brian, where they're going to be held under 10 points. Just 8 points for Kansas State in the third quarter.
Smith gets it to go. A 29-point third quarter for Idaho State. They hit 11 of 18 shots, including 7 threes, and are dominating Kansas State in Manhattan. Well, a dominating score for Idaho State after the third quarter, where they outscored K-State 29-8, hit 7 of 9 three-pointers, 11 of 18 overall. They are dominating as we go to the fourth quarter. Brian Smoller, Missy Heidrich back with you. What does K-State have to try and answer this as they begin with the basketball? It's the question we will see, as they had nothing working on the offensive end. Carr hits a three-pointer. She's been the only bright spot for K-State. 19 points for Carr on 7 of 10 shooting.
The biggest issue right now for Kansas State is getting stops on the defensive end. That's where they struggled there in the third quarter. They gave up way too many good looks, way too many open shots, and came out of the quarter break completely disrupted and not in the set at all was called. Jeff Mitty really just screaming his head off down there on the sideline, hoping for someone to get into the right look, but they weren't there. And this is where it's been. Idaho State made them pay. Coming into this game, the Bengals just 13 of 48 from 3, Brian, in 2 games. They hit 7 in that quarter. So much of it came from better execution and a lot of poor defense by Kansas State.
Goodson able to force the steal. Another turnover for Idaho State. They have 11. K-State has 15. Carr gets loose again and hits another 3. Carr's got 22.
And if you're Idaho State, you can't let your guard down. Christiana Carr, she has been the offense. She has found the ability to break free, get open, and knock down threes with someone in her face.
Double team in the corner, and a timeout for Coach Soboleski.
And that's going to be the message here, is you can't let your guard down. They've got to be better defensively. Did not have it these first couple possessions.
We'll go to break. Chrissy Carr trying to will K-State back with a couple of threes on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Wildcats trying to come back against Idaho State. They trailed by 19 points at the end of the third quarter. There you see what's coming up for K-State. A busy week ahead. 4 games in 7 days, starting with this one. The Wildcats struggling here at the outset against South Dakota State, at least in the second half. Bengals to the baseline on a travel against the zone defense of the Wildcats.
And that's what K-State's got to do. They've got to mix it up. Idaho State has just sliced and diced their man-to-man defense. You've got to throw something different at them, and a zone will do that. It will get you to stand a little bit more, and that has not been an issue for Idaho State. They've moved well in their half-court offense.
It seems almost counterintuitive that the Wildcats would be better in zone than they would be in man, and a blocking foul called as Orr's tried to take another charge against Carr, but Carr was able to angle off of it enough.
Yeah, she's there in help side, and Carr's going to go hard right, and she's there. It was a good look, a late whistle by the official, and an out of bounds underneath. 20 now on that shot clock for Kansas State.
Goodson throws it off the back of a Bengal, but then misses the shot as Smith blocks it. Almost everything setting up perfectly for Goodson with a veteran move, but unable to finish. Konate in the lane, try to sell contact, did not get the whistle. Bourne, let's go a three-pointer. In and out, no. Konate, the rebound follow, couldn't get it. Out of bounds to K-State.
And we said it, they're going to crash the offensive glass. You got to put a body on all 5 of these Bengals. A little bit of a substitution coming for Kansas State. It looks as though Ebert's going to be back in the lineup. And the one player we have not seen back yet for Idaho State, Brian, is number 25, Montana Oltrogi. She went out with that turned ankle. She knocked down a couple threes in that third quarter, and she is still on the bench with their medical staff.
Yep, that is a big loss, no doubt. She had been red hot. Carr, turnaround jumper, couldn't hit it. Lauterbach up high to get the rebound. Kicks out for Carr. Step back three on its way. Couldn't hit it. And now another offensive rebound by K-State. Ball got kicked by Konate, and she can't track it down. So the Wildcats will get it. They'll have to inbound from all the way to the other end of the floor.
Idaho State now scoreless here to start this fourth quarter after putting 29 on the board in the third. Have not been able to buy a basket here to start the fourth. Kansas State trying to chip away possession after possession. Got to get stops, and you've got to make buckets on the other end.
Lauterbach reverses no, gets her own rebound, follows that, couldn't get it. Golesh had the rebound, but it goes off her foot, and K-State still has not taken quite advantage of what the Bengals have given them to begin here in the fourth.
No, and the Bengals doing exactly what you need to do is to play defense without fouling, get on that glass, just couldn't corral it. And their coaching staff just exasperated because they knew they dodged another bullet there. Don't give up an easy bucket, but then can't get that possession back. Now you got to guard here for another 20 on the shot clock.
In the Carr, pull-up jumper way off the mark. Carr trying to do it all herself after a hot start, but now starting to miss. She's missed her last 4.
And that's what you can't have. You've got to go back to being more of that complete player, as we saw her do on multiple possessions.
Double team. Against this 1-3-1, Konate a dribble drive to Whitman, who just checked in. Golesh in the lane, lost it in a foul on K-State.
Penetration will put pressure on your defense, even against a zone. There's gaps and there's lanes. You've got to find them, and Golesh does exactly that. Draws contact. Both Lauterbach and Ebert there out on the perimeter, and they now with their out of bounds underneath. 20 on the shot clock. Foul
on Carr is her third. Whitman blocked from behind by Ebert, but picked up by Konate. Another block for Ebert. Golesh couldn't keep rocket fire from long distance. Carr tipped the rebound to Lauterbach. State with all 6 to start. Can they build on it?
They're still scoreless here in this fourth. We said it, 29 in the third. Haven't scored here. K-State's got to take advantage.
Scored 22 in the first half, 29 in the third quarter, as you said. Carr fouled before the shot.
And that's a better possession for Chrissy Carr, is put it on the floor and penetrate. Don't take quick guarded threes. Don't take threes from 30 feet just because you think you're open. Put it on the floor, create, draw some contact. This is an Idaho State team that will foul. You're going to have a chance at some point here in the fourth to get to the free throw line.
Carr, one-on-one, all the way to the basket, left-hand layup, got it!
One-on-one penetration, not a lot of help, and a miscue right there, and an easy turnover and bucket by Sydney Goodson. And a little bit of a run right here, cuts it under 10 for K-State.
Well, the Wildcats saw Goodson do that early on in the second quarter. Did the same thing, stepped in, faked she was going down the court, comes back, gets the interception. Orr's a three-pointer, that'll miss. Ranke kept the rebound, but to a bangle. 10-0 run by K-State to start the fourth. What a pass! Goalless to Moore, but she missed the shot, and then fouled on the follow by Lauterbach, and that's Lauterbach's fourth.
And Moore's going to go to the free throw line, and they miss opportunity from Idaho State. But second chance opportunities continue to pile up for this Idaho State squad. Staying after it, get your own rebound, going strong. Lauterbach draws that foul. As you said, that's 4. But still, no points in this quarter for Idaho State, and they still lead by 9.
Chrissy Carr, by the way, has tied a career high with her 24 points set against Oral Roberts last year when she hit 5 3-pointers in a game. Moore finally breaks the scoring column for this Idaho State team in the fourth quarter, puts the lead back to double figures. But no field goals yet in this frame for Idaho State. Lauterbach playing with the 4 fouls. Carr finds Lauterbach, doesn't want the shot, passed it up. Under 10 on the shot clock. Ranke. Lauterbach one-hands the rebound, scores, and one!
You got to battle, you got to want the basketball. And Taylor Lauterbach, she passed up an easy bunny underneath on 2 possessions before that. But the ball reversal, no block out on the weak side by Idaho State, and a bucket for the 6'7" freshman. Now she's got a chance at that 3-point play. You've just got to battle. You got to chip away, and right now Kansas State able to do that. Puts this thing into single digits with a little over 5 to go.
Lauterbach with a big 3-point play. As you see there, 13 rebounds for Lauterbach. Konate weaving through traffic. Orr's a 3-pointer. Got it! Her second, and the first field goal of the fourth quarter. After 5 minutes without one, Idaho State hits another 3. Their 8th all the second half out of 13 tries.
And it's amazing how the 3-point shot will open things back up. All of a sudden it went from 7, things got a little tighter, and now you're back to double digits, up 10.
And it goes to Lauterbach. Double teamed. Ranke a 3. No. And the rebound out of bounds to Idaho State.
Yeah, they were battling on that weak side, and Carr trying to get in there, mix it up for an offensive rebound, but ball goes off her. It goes back to the Bengals. And Rachel Ranke, just 1 of 6 now from behind that 3-point line here this afternoon. Hasn't been able to find her stroke yet this season, and that is one of the things from a perspective of your offense. Without an Ioka Lee, you've got to have another outside threat.
Konate trying to drive baseline. Goodson called for the block. 4th foul on K-State in this quarter, so it's free throws the rest of the way for the Bengals. Goodson gets her second.
Yeah, that's an explosive penetration by Konate. We've seen it here all afternoon, putting pressure on this Kansas State defense. Konate, she's represented France in international play, that 3-on-3 international basketball tournament, and you could just tell she's got a nose to make a play when it counts.
Trying to find Lauterbach. Ball movement by K-State. Carr, a couple of fakes at the baseline, couldn't hit, and it's out of bounds to K-State.
Yeah, she's drawn a lot of attention, and there's a lot of contact there, but you like the isolation looks for Carr. An adjustment from Jeff Medina's staff. They know they've got to find a way to get her shots, open up the floor a little bit. You can do that one-on-one down low.
Ranke, a long 3, nowhere close. And the rebound, Idaho State, and a foul on Goodson. Sold a bit by Bourne.
And Bourne with another double-digit rebounding effort here this afternoon. We said it, a career-high 14 boards. Hasn't necessarily scored a ton, just 6 points. but she's done it on the glass. 11 rebounds now for the junior.
And to the free throw line. She'll shoot 2. That is the 5th foul on K-State. Bourne missed the first, one more coming up. Just a 58% career free throw shooter.
But you said it, Brian, Idaho State's going to be in the bonus here the rest of the way. And so that is one of those things you're going to have to play without fouling. You cannot give them chances to put more points on the board without that clock moving.
Offensive rebound to Orrs. So despite just a 5 of 8 line at the free throw stripe, now 5 of 9. Idaho State another possession here up 10. Deflection by Ebert. Keep it with the Bengals, but only 8 on the shot clock.
12 offensive rebounds this afternoon for Idaho State, 13 for Kansas State, but it has been the Bengals who have made the most of crashing the glass on the offensive end.
Nazi in the lane, bounce pass and traffic finds Bourne.
Movement without the basketball, you get to the middle of the floor, and that is where the best things happen for your guards. They can create for themselves and for your teammates, and it has been easy this afternoon for Kanate.
What a basket here.
It's just keeping your dribble alive. You're not giving up on the play. And great vision to find an open player, knowing you're drawing a lot of attention in the middle of the floor. Everybody's going to be coming that direction. And so you know someone's got to be open. And that is where veteran guard play, just a veteran team together, has made all the difference this afternoon.
4th foul on Idaho State. So now they have put K-State in the bonus on the inbound. That foul on Bourne is her 4th. Mixed up with Carr coming through the paint, trying to find Lauterbach underneath. There goes the pass, double team out to Goodson. 3-pointer is long, and the rebound to Idaho State. It's actually short, then crawled over and landed with Bengals. K-State hit their first 2 threes of the night, but have been a little quiet since. Everett with those long arms forces a steal, but then turns it over, trying to hit Carr on a run out and a timeout for Idaho State. 30-second timeout for Seton Soboleski.
And I think Coach Soboleski wanted to slow it down a little bit, wanted to take the air out of the basketball in the last possession, but then it was Everett with those long arms and anticipation out in the passing lane, but they get the basketball back. So now they want to slow it down a little bit. And you look at this upcoming schedule for Idaho State, this is going to be a huge confidence builder. If they can get home, go back home, come off the road with a P5 victory, that says a lot about this group. And we knew coming in, Brian, that this was a team that their focus is very simple, that they play good team basketball, that when you've got a veteran group that they can do those things, and that they'll disrupt you, and that they will expose some of your weaknesses. It's not a big team top to bottom in terms of their size and their roster, but they have taken advantage of opportunities when it has come at them this afternoon. And that's been one of the biggest difference makers here against this Kansas State team.
See there, Northern Colorado, a couple of games, then Weber State. That's the beginning of Big Sky play for Idaho State, the team that's picked to win the conference. Last season was the number 3 team in the league, went 18-13. And bring all 5 starters and 11 winners back from that 18-win campaign. So they are expecting big things this year, hunting for an NCAA tournament berth in the Big Sky Championship. Golesh unable to hit the 3. K-State not out of it. They've cut the gap to 9 here in this 4th quarter. Carr unable to hit that one. Renke an ill-advised pass, and Lauterbach unable to corral it. Another turnover by K-State. That's 17 by the Wildcats.
The numbers are been consistent. 18 turnovers against Kentucky, 19 against Central Arkansas on the road, and now 17 here with 2 minutes to go. Those are missed opportunities, trips down the floor where you don't even get a shot. And Jeff Mitty knows they just have to be better in valuing the possession.
Well, the last 2 games without Lee and Jada Moore, who provided some points off the bench. Golesh, another 3-pointer. She's got 18 points. But back to K-State, they've averaged 48 points a game the last 2 games. Without Lee, without Moore.
Yeah, it just changes. Without Ioka Lee, it changes not only the makeup of this team, but how teams are going to guard you. We talked about it at halftime. You don't have that size and that presence inside who is a consistent threat every time down the floor, then you become a lot easier to guard. you all of a sudden now you're perimeter oriented, and so people are going to go, they're going to get up in you, and they're going to trap you, and they're going to force you into bad shots and long threes and quick looks and turnovers. It just changes how people bring their game plan at Kansas State when you take Ioka Lee out of the middle.
Goodson missed the second free throw. The rebound to Idaho State. Under 90 seconds to go. Bengals close to their first ever win against Kansas State. Came in 0-2 all time. Last meeting was in November of 2012.
I asked Jeff Mittie at the beginning of this season what he thought in terms of the Big 12 itself as a league. A lot of years it's been a guard-heavy league, post-heavy league. What did he think? He said this year it's about the post players because they are the difference makers really up and down for every team in the Big 12. And we have seen here this afternoon the difference of not having that significant post presence in your lineup.
Yep.
And he knows it. Everybody else knows it across the board, how important a player like Ioka Lee is to their lineup. You've got to be able to find some answers here without her in there.
Horse caps off a tremendous second half for this Idaho State team with another three. 9 of 15 threes, make it 10 of 16 threes in the second half for Idaho State.
Not at all intimidated to come in on the road into the unfriendly confines of Bramlage Coliseum, but they were ready. And this Idaho State team, with their game plan, they really never deviated from it. They stayed with it from the start. They put pressure on you defensively. They executed. They got shots in that first half, especially in the second, even though they couldn't score, and then came out at halftime just lit it on fire. And this group has got to be pleased, and it is going to be a happy trip home for the Idaho State Bengals.
Oars in double figures for the second straight game. Carr will let fly a deep three. That won't go. Final 15 seconds. Wildcats will fall to 2-2 on the year. Idaho State to 2-1. Everett shows that jump shot again, has 6 points. But that'll be it. 65-50. Idaho State comes into Manhattan and takes down the Wildcats. What a win for the Bengals. Congratulations to Seton Soboleski as they begin Big Sky play with a big-time win on the road.
A huge win. A team picked tied for first by the coaches in the preseason poll for the Big Sky, and this is a confidence builder for a very veteran group. You like how they play together, and they just seem to have great energy all afternoon from the start. Even when they got down, they never seemed to back down at all to this Kansas State team, and there were flashes for the Wildcats this afternoon. We saw him from Carr, who comes with another career day, 24 points, 9 of 18, 5 of 10, but there really wasn't much else, and that's the answer that Jeff Mittie and his staff are going to have to find in a quick 2 days, because it doesn't get any easier. 4 games in 7 days, and congratulations, you play the number 22 ranked team in the country, South Dakota State, on Thursday.
And probably an underrated South Dakota State team. We'll talk about that schedule in just a moment. Here are the final numbers from today. K-State shoots just 30%. They hit just 10 of 38 shots in the second half at 26%, just 2 of 16 threes in the second half. And after hitting their first 2 to start the game, the Wildcats finished the game 4 of 28 from long distance. The rebounds, even, assists heavily in favor of Idaho State. Big days today for Golesh, who pretty much took the entire second quarter off due to foul trouble, but had 18 points, 11 for Oars, 11 for Old Troji. Well, hopefully she's not hurt too injured after rolling an ankle, and 12 boards for Bourne. Here is the upcoming schedule.
Everyone has the same issue all across the country. You're packing games in, but they've got 2 days to find some answer. I think it's gut tech time right now for this Kansas State squad.
Big win for Idaho State. The Wildcats will look for